Welcome to Cable Chatter. Now for some community announcements. On Friday, November 24th, the Union City Community Christmas Parade starts at 5:30 in Union City. The parade will lead to the park to see the light display for the first time this year. The next Saturday, December 2nd, is full of activities. The first one is the Force Holiday Craft Show at 9 a.m. at Winchester Community High School. The next event is the third annual Christmas on Main Street in Lynn at 2 p.m. Then, starting at 5 p.m. in Parker City, the Christmas on Main Street takes place. On Friday and Saturday, December 8th and 9th, lights and flights will take place to view the Christmas light display in Union City. Since we just celebrated Veterans Day, we interviewed some of the veterans in our community and asked them to share some of their military experience with us. Following these interviews, I recently spoke with Brad Hoggatt to give us an update on this year's Community Thanksgiving.
We went overseas and we headed for China, and we ended at Hong Kong. We called back to Japan. We were sent to Korea. We did some work there for Korea for quite some time, and took the Marines and all the equipment up to the service boys so they could have something to fight with. And in the meantime, we got called away. Well, that was over a period of probably about 4 or 5 months that we was in Korea. We got called away for a special assignment, and that was Passage of Freedom. This was a thing that Vietnam was going on. They decided to evacuate people out of North Vietnam down to South Vietnam because they did not believe in the communists. So they sent us up the river. I can't remember the river. I'm sorry, but it was going up to about Haiphong, and we made that trip twice. We made a trip down to Saigon. We went from North Vietnam down to South Vietnam. We're in Saigon, and we had about 5,000 people, citizens that did not want communism, and we went down and took them down there, and that created quite a problem. I'll not dwell on that, but and we did it twice, and we were escorted by many ships, cruisers, destroyers, everything else to protect what we were doing. And so that's really, that was the two places that we spent a lot of time, Korea and Vietnam.
Oh, I remember in the barracks, I had my wife's picture sitting there on the counter, and I had a little Christmas tree that I picked up out of the trash, and it was actually the top of a Christmas tree from the EM Club when I was in France, and instead of cutting the bottom of that Christmas tree off because it was too tall, they cut the top of it off and then took it into the EM Club, which is reverse of what should have been done. But anyway, it made me a nice Christmas tree about 2.5 feet tall, and string of lights on there, and all the guys in the company come around, bring their wife's picture down there, and their girlfriends, and sit there and get their pictures taken so they could send letters home. That's a long time before we had cell phones. So everything was mailed back and forth then. So you wanted to say something to your wife or your girlfriend, and it took about a week to find out about it.
I was a PMI agent, Pentagon Military Intelligence, and I worked out of the war room out of Nancy, France. And I did not wear a uniform. I served in civilian clothes, and my main station was in Munich, Germany. Now, one of the things that we done, I can tell you this, one of our main operations was, as an agent, is we done things that was, the operation through the Pentagon was called SLIM. And that operation was the Soviet liaison mission personnel. That was Soviet spies. We were to gather them up if we found them, and then we traded them for American spies. And when you're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, it was really exciting.
Well, I wanted to talk to you. Obviously, my father's deceased, but he played a very active role in World War II. that wasn't really anybody aware of for the 50-year time period. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but there are a lot of, quote, government secrets that there's a 50-year hold on that information. I think probably the closest thing that you've maybe heard that phrase used is for the John F. Kennedy information. Now things are coming out about his assassination that were never talked about at that time. So anyway, it was the same thing. My dad's activity in World War II was not made public until 1994. But the reason why I know about it is my dad and his buddies, after the war ended, got together at our house in the summertime. And so, you know, little kid, big ears, that's what I was, and I heard these stories that they were talking about. So his company started at the top of the States in Seattle, and their mode of transportation was the duck, and that's as it was referred to, and it was an amphibious vehicle that land and sea. So what was happening was that from Japan, because they were involved by that time period, they were sending incendiary bombs attached to balloons that floated on the air currents. There was nothing that operated them except the air, and they followed it and would land all down the shoreline from Seattle all the way down to California. Well, so Dad's company were the ones who diffused bombs, these incendiary bombs that were attached to those balloons. So if anybody accidentally went up to them or whatever to investigate, they'd explode. So it was technically an act of war, but we never recorded any war activity on the home front. So he would train, his company would train a group of civilians that they would watch the skies at night and chart maps for where these incendiary bombs had landed, okay? And then in the morning, when it was daylight, his company would go in and defuse the bombs because they would get the maps that people had charted so they knew where they needed to go to look for them along the shoreline. After they had civilians trained, another troop came in that they trained in terms of defusing the bombs, and they moved on and moved on and moved on all the way down to California during the war.
I was assigned at the Presidio in San Francisco for a year, and then I was in Washington, D.C. at the Pentagon for a couple of years. In San Francisco, I was there in late 68, 1969, when Berkeley and all of the kids were marching. I got to experience a lot of that out in the San Francisco, and all the Flower Children and the Fillmore West and the rock bands and all that in my off time. And then when I was stationed in Washington, of course, you had the marches on Washington. I went up to the Lincoln Memorial for one of the big ones there, and there were thousands of people up there. It was quite a sight to see. We had to obviously stay out of them to stay out of trouble, but it was an interesting time to be in the military, and I was fortunate enough to be stationed where I was and to be doing the kind of work that I did. It wasn't too bad. It just took 3 years out of my life, and they didn't pay anything. I think it was $99 a month is what I got paid.
Hello and welcome back to Cable Chatter. Today I'm here with Brad Hoggatt to talk about his event. So, what is Community Thanksgiving and where is it taking place at?
So the Community Thanksgiving meal is going to be on November the 21st. It's going to happen at 6 p.m. here at the high school in the gymnasium. The whole meal concept started several years ago. Pastor Jeff Groa up at Wesley. We used to have the Steps ministry uptown, and so he wanted to provide a Thanksgiving type meal for the kids that came for Steps. And he said, well, hot dogs and chips would suffice. And then in comes Jamie Kearns and her husband Tom, and they said, no, they need a Thanksgiving meal. So it kind of all started there. And then it transpired to a meal at the church, and then it transpired even bigger to a meal in Hoggatt Court. And now we have this whole community festival kind of thing going on. And it's just an opportunity for people to come for a free meal. Everything's homemade, everything's freshly made that day, and just to fellowship, to pray, to enjoy each other's company, and to just eat. And eat and eat. So that's what Thanksgiving, and then they can go home and take a nap. So that's what Thanksgiving's for.
So what made you want to be a part of it?
Well, do you want the truth? Yeah, I'm going to give you the truth. I didn't want anything to do with it, to be honest with you.
That sounds about right.
I'm just going to tell you. So several years ago, my wife, in her infinite wisdom, decided that we were going to come to the meal that they had up in Hoggatt Court. Didn't want to come. I don't like being around a lot of people. And so we ate. We didn't even volunteer. We were selfish, I felt, and we came and ate. Loved it. Fell in love with it. Fell in love with the idea that all of these people have come together. We stuck around. We helped clean up. And then it's just kind of, it was almost like a disease. It just sucked you right in. And I hate to kind of throw that word in there with it, but it felt like it was someplace we had to be. So ever since then, we volunteered our time. And because of the ability of being at school every day and trying to pull in different organizations from school and be the contact person with Mr. Black and with Mr. Thornburg to make sure things jive, I kind of got put on the committee. I'm not in any way in charge of the thing. That's Jamie Kearns, and she's got the mastermind to put it all together. But you know, it's just been several years of just this neat camaraderie and the willingness for people to just step out of their comfort zones. And I thought if other people can do it, so could I. So I have that. I've done that.
And then what was your attendance last year, and what are you expecting this year?
Well, we were upwards of maybe 1,200 meals prior, like the Thanksgiving prior to COVID. And that came and kind of brought everything back down to a new reality. I think we were close to about 900 this last Thanksgiving. We would love to be back up over 1,000. We invite anybody to come, and it's free. Meal, extra food can go home at the end. So we have that concept. And then if people are just unable to attend that Tuesday, Jamie and Tom and myself and Amy and several other people will meet at Wesley on Wednesday, and we'll box more food up, and we'll have that sent out to shut-ins and other people that can't attend. So that always drives our numbers up a little bit more. We're hoping to break 1,000 this year.
And then why do you think it's so important that this happens every year?
Oh, well, that is a fine question. The importance of it, honestly, is the fact that it's people coming together for people and with people. The idea that we can have a school system that will allow multiple community churches and the school itself and employees and students and other organizations to map out this event and put it on just for the sheer benefit of being just to bless people. People that come and may not have a meal that night, have a home-cooked meal. Those that have the privilege of having a home-cooked meal have the opportunity to fellowship with other people. So the importance of it is just simply for just humanitarian efforts at work. And heaven knows our world needs more humanitarian efforts right now. So I think that's probably the best thing that we could offer.
And then what's your favorite part about it?
Oh, the turkey. Holy cow. There's the turkey. I'm looking right here. It is really good turkey. But the best part is seeing all walks of life, from the workers to the participants to the attendees. Just seeing the smiles and the appreciation and hearing the gratitude and feeling the gratitude. We've got people who are, we call them maybe the front lines, who are up there serving the food. And they're the ones that get seen. But we have people in the kitchen cleaning up after all of the messes that we make. We'll have people come in that night and clean up after all the floors. We have people the day before coming in and setting everything up. It's just this huge community effort. So I don't know if I have a favorite part, except I will tell you, have I told you how good that turkey is? Because it's really good turkey. Just saying.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. That's why we started our restaurant originally. Was my parents loved seeing the smiling faces on customers and on people around the community.
Well, and you guys are community-minded people. Yes, you're a community-minded family. And so the idea that things can work for the benefit of everybody and not for a sole few, it's great to see and experience. So. And
then how do you guys get the rest of the school involved, like the students and stuff? How do you?
We threaten them. No. So we put out the invitation once we have everything kind of coordinated as to how many serving stations we're going to need, the desserts, the drinks. We've got all of this stuff figured out. Then we send out an email to the staff and students, just saying, if you are interested in participating, let me know. So, for example, Mrs. Black and the girls' basketball team, they're regular participants, and so she just emails, I'm going to have 25 girls. We're going to be there ready to serve during. Mr. Malloy and the football team, he's messaged me already, hey, we're going to be there that day where we can set up all the tables. So it's really, you can blame the coaches, but and kids will even come up, hey, I need some service hours. Can I put some time in here? And we don't turn anybody away. So if you need hours, we can hook you up that week. So.
And then how do you think that affects all of the students? Like, what mindset do you feel like it puts them into?
Oh, that's deep. That's a deep question. So, we're having this push towards maybe a change in our like a paradigm shift of our learning, and a shift in how we approach education and how we approach maybe our being. So if we have to kind of look at it that way, they're learning skills that they wouldn't learn from a textbook. They're learning interpersonal skills. They're learning how to interact. The mindset, what I hope they come away with, is just an absolute feeling of being a blessing to someone, and just the appreciation of being blessed, because you don't always have to get to be blessed. If you give, it's a two-way street. And maybe that's what I'm hoping that they come away with.
Yeah, I know, at least for me, I've helped last year, and my family went to it the year before, and that, kind of like how you were, it kind of just drug me in. Like, I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, seeing all these people that you don't see them every day.
Right.
It kind of just pulls everyone together as an actual community.
It does.
And it really, helping last year, it really hit home with just seeing all the smiling faces, seeing the community together, and even the people, I know it's put together by churches, even the people that aren't Christian coming and still being happy about all of it, and still feeling blessed that they're able to come and be a part of such a great event.
Absolutely.
And then when and where did you say it was?
So it will be November the 21st. It's going to be in the high school gymnasium, so they can come through the foyer doors there through the gym. We'll allow people to go in for the facility at maybe like 5:55ish. We like to start it with prayer and have a message. And then at about 10 after 6, all of the food's going to get served. So they're not going to go, nobody goes through a line. Everything gets served to them. Drinks get served to the guests. The food gets served to the guests. The desserts come around and get served to the guests because we just want people to feel special. So it's going to be the 21st, 6 o'clock. Come a little early because it's going to be crowded. And you're going to leave stuffed.
Well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you guys for listening.